All right, guys. Hello. Hello. It is Wisdom Wednesday. And tonight I am going to be talking to you about creating a brand strategy for your business. So feel free to drop your questions, your comments in the chat, and we can discuss them here live, or if you're watching the replay, I will respond to your comments after the live. So let's go ahead and get right into it. What is brand strategy and why should you have one? Developing your brand strategy, or the foundation of your brand strategy is basically determining your audience's needs, educating them on who you are in your business, basically the essence of your business or the soul of your business, and how you can solve your target audience's problem. When you combine these two elements with your business goals, you can start to form a brand strategy. And when you market these things appropriately, there is synergy that happens between all these things. And you kind of hit a sweet spot, or what I know, love to call brand magic. So, one of the biggest mistakes that I see entrepreneurs make is just bringing their products and services to market without a proper strategy to be able to encourage your ideal client to take action, especially in digital businesses. So we kind of just put our products and services out there, kind of hoping that people will buy. There's really no strategy behind it. And then we're sitting there wondering, well, why am I not making any sales? Why are people not purchasing from me? So here are a few things you definitely need to consider. If you haven't been making sales consistently and you still feel like you have not been able to attract your ideal client, it's probably time to switch up your strategy. So I know it can be overwhelming, but if you can focus on believing that you can and that you also have something of value to offer, then you will undoubtedly be successful. So if you have questions at any time, go ahead and drop those into the chat. Feel free. There's a certain scenario you like to ask about or discuss. Feel free to drop it there, and I'll make sure I respond. But as we're talking about brand strategy, one of the ways in which people get clients, obviously, especially for digital businesses, is via social media, right? And if you're getting clients via social media, that means you're doing some form of social selling. So, social selling obviously happens on social media, but the transaction piece of it doesn't necessarily occur on social media, like on the platform. Um, and truthfully, it rarely ever does, right? People are rarely ever exchanging or doing transactions, on the social media platform. It's usually outside. And so, how do you do that? You have to create a sales funnel in order to get people into your brand community, on your email list, or in your community outside of social media to be able to have that conversation with them continuously, right? So, whether it's your mailing list, your text list, membership site, this is somewhere that you can have that contact with them all the time, and you don't have to log on to a platform that's not yours to be able to talk to your ideal client or your current customers for that matter. When you're socially selling, your number one objective is to get people to stop the scroll. So, of course, we know in the online world, things are very noisy. Tons of people in your industry doing the same thing, sometimes even saying the same thing. So, you have to bring your brand to the forefront. So, it's very important for you to be clear about who you are, what you're offering, and who you serve. So, who is it for? That helps at least cut the first layer. And then it's really about illustrating your target audience's problem and how your brand is like the best fit to help them solve their problems, right? Um, so let's talk about when in your strategy, having clarity around your brand and your brand's messaging. What's your brand about? Who's it for? That's really what you need to convey in order to stand out. You want it to be clear. You don't want to confuse your ideal client, especially by offering stuff that is not relevant. I can't tell you how many times I see people just offering things because it's popular. They see people buying it, and it's like, well, if that's something to do with your brand, why are you making this a part of your product or your service suite? Honestly, because people are going to be wondering, like, well, what kind of business are you? And if someone has to ask that question, that means you're not doing a very good job at communicating what your brand's about and who's it for, right? And what you actually do, what you want to be known for. So just keep that in mind before you take on random products and services just trying to make money. In the end, it usually ends up costing you more money and more time than it does actually make you money. Um, Next is building brand authority, right? So you want to be perceived as an expert in your industry. And so if you haven't taken the time to kind of do that for yourself and for your brand, putting out that content, especially if you're social selling, um, to show your audience that you truly are an expert in your industry and they can trust you and trust the things that you're saying. They can trust you with that transformation, trust you with helping them to solve their problem. So just because your brand looks good doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to buy from you. So I want to make that perfectly clear. You also have to walk the walk. So talk the talk, you got to walk the walk too, and show them that you're able to give them that transformation. And then you do also want to build a relationship, right? Relationship is key. Community building is key when you're building a profitable brand. So if you're just cold pitching people and just kind of saying, this is what I offer, this is what I offer, this is what I offer, it's kind of like, I'm going to ignore because, why should I choose you over anybody else if you haven't done a good job at building a relationship so I can kind of see how it is that you'll be able to help me and make sure that it's a good fit. I'm not going to be so, ready to listen. I'm going to go on to the next thing. So make sure that you're inviting people to learn more about you, experience what you have to offer before just pitching them out of the blue. Next, you want to be adding value, right? So for your brand community, it's really important for whatever you put out to have something that's going to actually help them. And this is how I structure my product suite and how I encourage my clients to structure their product suite. I call it an aligned product suite. So you want to put out products and services that actually make sense. They complement one another, and it actually drives people to your most premium experience or product or service, right? That is where all roads lead to. And if you kind of have a hodgepodge of products, services, things that sometimes go together, sometimes don't make sense to bundle. It's going to be very hard for people to say yes to what you have to offer because they're trying to make sense of what it is they're looking at. So make sure that your products and services complement each other, they make sense, and they actually do add value, meaning they solve a problem that your target market has, and it's a no-brainer for them to be able to work with you. And then also in all of this, and when you're developing your brand strategy, I can't stress this enough. It's really important to know your target market. So you have to take that time to really, really, really get to know them, what they like, what they do on the weekends, where they shop, where they eat, what social platforms they're on, especially what social platforms they're on. Because again, with your brand strategy, you want to spend the most time where your ideal client is hanging out. And as you scale your business, you will most likely increase the entry points as to where you are acquiring clients from. But when you're first starting out, to maximize your time and to really gain traction, you want to be where they are. And if you're just kind of setting up accounts willy-nilly all everywhere, and you don't even know if your target market is there because someone just told you to set up an account there, it's kind of like you're wasting your time. So that kind of leads me to my next point of entry points for your brand strategy and how you're creating that. What are the entry points that people can interact with your business? And where are you marketing? Where are you spending your time? Are you checking your analytics? So we had a conversation about this on Clubhouse today, actually, about really being in the know of your metrics and your analytics and not being afraid to look at your numbers. So if you don't look at your analytics, you don't look at your numbers, how do you know that your efforts are successful? How do you know that you have a return on your investment? How do you know that what you're doing is actually working? And how do you know you should actually be in the places that you're showing up? So if you're not checking your IG analytics, your Facebook analytics, LinkedIn, you're not looking at those things, you're not really tracking and seeing where you're getting the majority of your clientele from, it's going to be very, very hard for you to determine and make those good decisions in your business about where to spend your marketing dollars and about how to, develop your brand strategy. That's all goes into a part of it. You can't make good decisions in your business if you're not informed. That's just the truth. So, if a marketing strategy is not working for me, then I'm not going to do it anymore. But if I didn't look at my analytics, I wouldn't know that to be able to make that type of decision. So pivot like a boss, pivot like a CEO, right? So if it's kind of like, we've been putting X amount of dollars into, let's say, LinkedIn marketing, and we're seeing like no return. So that could mean one or two things. Maybe the messaging is not coming across. Maybe my ideal client is not on this platform. I don't know. But that would be something that you would have to analyze and think, okay, maybe we don't put as much effort, or maybe we stop marketing on this platform altogether and put our efforts into what is working, which, let's say, for example, is Instagram. I don't know. But just examples of how you can make these decisions that go into your overall brand strategy. And then what does your product suite consist of? And this is kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but I think this is really important as people don't necessarily put a lot of thought into it. They're just basically trying to make money, which obviously, yes, you want your business to make money, but they're not thinking um, holistically about their brand, about their business, and what it really means, and just kind of putting out stuff, just trying to get their clients to buy. And so when it comes to trying to figure out what makes sense, what journey makes sense for my ideal client and for the people that actually work with me, there is no clear cut journey. It's all over the place. And if you feel like it's all over the place, I guarantee you that your clients and potential clients feel like it's all over the place. They're not really too sure where to go, what to do, how to best work with you, what's going to be great, what's going to be the best route for them. You have to make it very easy for your ideal client to do business with you. And this really goes hand in hand with their brand strategy. Like, the strategy definitely should be, how can my ideal client do business with me? What are the ways? How simple can I make it? And all roads lead to where. And so that really goes into what an aligned product suite or service suite would look like if you were developing that for your brand. And that's what that looks like when I work with clients and we develop a cohesive brand strategy and aligned product suite for their business to help them scale. So hopefully that all makes sense. Hopefully that's all helpful. Let me know in the comments if it's helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if there's a specific scenario that's come up that you have questions about that you'd like me to take a look at. If you're interested in looking at your current product suite or service suite, or maybe like redoing some things, like kind of tweaking your sales funnels, that sort of thing, you can definitely book a brand strategy session with me. The link to do that is in the description of this live, and I'll also post it in the comments as well. So you can feel free to do that. And then I also have a workshop coming up next week, guys, on Thursday, October the 28th. It's called Brand Strategy for Bosses. And in that workshop, we're going to be going over all the different ways that you can get clients both on and off social media. A part of your brand strategy should be figuring out all the different avenues and ways that you can get clients, and it all should not be from one source. You don't put all of your eggs in one basket. And so we're really going to talk about that and how you develop a network in order to be able to gain clients. Utilizing social media, but also utilizing some other different types of platforms and avenues that you can use to shore up your business, aka the stool. If your business is a stool and all the different ways you get clients are legs, the more legs you have, the sturdier your business will be. If you only have two legs on your stool and those two legs are like social media platforms, it's not so stable. So we're going to be going over how you can do that. The link to sign up for the workshop is going to be put in the comments of this live. And if you have any questions, let me know. It's also posted on the Facebook page and also in the Simply She Army Facebook group. So think that's it. That's all I have, guys. Hopefully, this has been helpful for you. Let me know in the comments if it's been helpful. I would love to hear from you guys. I think I have some updates for my trip for or from Vegas, but I will post those in the group a little bit later. So until then, until next time, take care, guys. And remember, you too can conquer if you slay hard every day.